Hi, and welcome back to the Watchmaker's Apprentice podcast. My name is Garen Fraze, and there's always more to learn about watchmaking, so I will always be an apprentice. Now, this is an episode that I've been putting off for a little while, but I had to make it at some point. So, without further ado, let's roll the intro and get into it. All right, so as you can see by the title and the thumbnail, I quit my job as the in-house Rolex watchmaker at Haltom's Jewelers. Now, there were a few things that went into this decision, and in this episode, I'm going to get into that, and I'm also going to tell you what's next for me as a watchmaker. What are the next steps in my career? So, to start, I want to say I'm very grateful to both Haltom's and Rolex for all the opportunities. Basically, I've been, for the last 4 years, if you don't know, I've been servicing Rolex watches at Haltom's Jewelers. I've been doing exclusively Rolex. At home, I'll do some side projects every now and then, but at Haltom's, it's been exclusively Rolex. And again, I'm really appreciative of the opportunities, and I don't think there could have been a better way to start my career as a watchmaker. So with that out of the way, let's start talking about why I'm stepping away and why I chose to quit. So I'm a person that is motivated by perpetual improvement and growth. I always want to be learning. I always want to be growing and improving myself as both a watchmaker and just as an individual. That's not to say necessarily that there's nothing more for me to learn by working on Rolex. That's certainly not the case. But it is the case that if I continue to work on exclusively Rolex, then I will be growing in one direction. And I would like to kind of expand my horizons and cast a little bit wider of a net. So for the last 4 years, as I said, I've been servicing Rolex, and I feel like I've kind of hit a ceiling. There's no further trainings for me to get within the Rolex umbrella. And there's so much Rolex work at Haltom's, and I was the only watchmaker, so there wasn't really much of an opportunity for me to expand and work on other brands and get additional training, just because I had so much work in Rolex that we couldn't really justify that. So in September 2023, I started to think about what I wanted to do next, what my next steps would be, and how I wanted to move forward. So I set two main goals for myself. I wanted to contribute to the American watchmaking industry in a meaningful way, and I wanted to continue to learn and grow as a watchmaker. So with those two things in mind, I made my resume, sent it out a few places, and I had a few opportunities available to me. I had a few different paths that I could take, and I had pretty much settled on one. I had fielded a couple of different offers, and I had pretty much come to a decision. And then, kind of out of nowhere, I got a call from Stan McMahon, my former instructor and the current instructor of the Paris Junior College Watchmaking Program, and he said he needed help. He needed an assistant. So he wanted me to apply for the adjunct horology instructor position at PJC, and so I did, because thinking back on my two goals of contributing to the American watchmaking industry and learning learning and growing as a watchmaker, I think I would be hard pressed to find an opportunity in the industry where I could accomplish those goals more effectively. So I took maybe 3 or 4 hours to think about it and mull it over and kind of weigh my other options. And I realized that at this point in my career, I think that's the best option for me. So I have already started going back and forth between Paris and Haltom's, starting to make the transition as smooth as possible. Right now, I'm working Mondays and Tuesdays in Paris, and then coming back for the rest of the week to finish up the current jobs that I have at Haltom's. And then once those are done, probably by the end of March, I will be up in Paris full time, so that my full focus can be on the program and helping Stan out as much as possible, and helping the students out as much as possible, and continuing to push that program forward. So what does that mean for this podcast and for the Instagram account and all that stuff? I want to continue to make content. I think the podcast will be more of my focus, but I still want to make Instagram content. And in order to do so, I have a kind of a plan in place. I want to set up a shop in my new house in Paris and focus on vintage and pocket watch stuff, because that's really where my passion lies, is in the vintage stuff and the restorations of pocket watches. So I want to focus on that. I want to continue developing my skills and becoming a better watchmaker in those areas. And I want to share that journey with you all, whether it be through Instagram or through the podcast. And the podcast may end up being more of just YouTube than a podcast. I'm not really sure where it's going to land, but I certainly intend to continue. I've got a couple of interviews that I'm really excited to share with you guys coming up. Yeah, so I just want to get back to posting regularly and sharing content with you guys, but it's going to transition a little bit away from the work that I was doing at Haltom's and more into vintage stuff and old pocket watches and stuff like that. I kind of want to do more educational stuff as I move forward, but we'll see how it goes. So yeah, that's just about everything. I'm really excited for this. I'm looking forward to sharing with everyone, and I want to thank you all again for the support. So I almost forgot to mention that I'll be doing an episode with Stan here pretty soon. We'll be talking about the state of the watchmaking education industry in the United States, and we'll also be going over some book recommendations and stuff like that. So stay tuned for that episode. That's going to be a great episode. I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, that's about all I got. So thank you again for all the support, and I'll see you next time.